Have you ever walked into a room and felt an invisible chill, like someone's eyes were silently sizing you up before you even opened your mouth? It's not your imagination. It's the weight of unspoken judgment, a quiet resentment that lingers in the air. Maybe it's a coworker's forced smile, a friend's sudden distance, or a family member's subtle jab that leaves you wondering, what did I do? The truth is, sometimes people resent you not for who you are, but for what you unknowingly stir within them. On today's episode of ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving deep into the hidden reasons behind silent hostility, starting with one of the most corrosive forces of all, envy. This isn't just about understanding why others pull away, it's about arming yourself with Stoic wisdom to stay grounded, rise above, and live your truth unapologetically. Stick with us to uncover practical tools you can use today to navigate these quiet storms and keep your inner peace intact. Let's get started. Imagine you're climbing a mountain, your boots crunching against the rocky path, each step a testament to your grit and focus. You've trained for this. Long hours, early mornings, sacrifices no one else sees. Now, you're nearing the summit, the view breathtaking, your heart pounding with pride. But as you pause to take it all in, you notice someone watching from below, their gaze not one of awe, but of something darker, envy. It's not loud, it doesn't scream. It's a quiet poison seeping into relationships, turning admiration into contempt, respect into resentment. Envy isn't just about wanting what you have. It's about someone feeling small because your light shines too brightly. On ZENLIGHT, we're peeling back the layers of this silent force, grounding our exploration in Stoic wisdom to help you understand why it happens and how to rise above it with unshakable strength. Envy often starts as a spark of admiration. Someone sees your promotion at work, your disciplined morning routine, or the way you carry yourself with quiet confidence. Maybe it's the way you speak with clarity at a meeting, or the calm you exude when chaos swirls around you. At first, they might think, wow, I wish I could do that. But for some, that spark ignites something uglier. Your success becomes a mirror, reflecting back their unfulfilled dreams, their half-finished goals, or the courage they haven't yet found. Instead of looking inward, they turn outward, projecting their discomfort onto you. Suddenly, your win feels like their loss. Your clarity feels like a judgment on their chaos. And that's when the subtle attacks begin. A backhanded compliment, a dismissive comment about your work, or a whispered rumor that you got lucky. It's not about what you've done, it's about what you represent to them, a reminder of what they haven't dared to chase. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is your shield against envy's sting. When someone resents your progress, it's not your burden to carry. Their jealousy isn't your flaw to fix. You don't need to dim your light to make them comfortable or apologize for the miles you've walked to get here. Think about it. In today's world, where social media amplifies comparison, where every post about a new job, a marathon finish line, or a moment of joy can spark a quiet storm in someone else, envy is everywhere. Maybe you shared a photo of your new apartment, and a friend's "nice, must be good to have rich parents" comment cuts deeper than it should. Or at work, your idea lands a big client, but a colleague's "it was a team effort" dismissal steals your moment. These aren't random jabs, they're envy wearing a mask. The Stoic response isn't to fight back or shrink yourself, it's to stay steady. Keep showing up as you are, with integrity and purpose. Their resentment is a signal of their struggle, not your failure. But let's go deeper. Envy doesn't just hurt relationships, it distorts reality. When someone envies you, they're not seeing you, they're seeing a version of themselves they haven't reconciled with. Maybe it's the coworker who wanted that promotion but never put in the late nights you did. Maybe it's the friend who dreams of running a 5K but hasn't laced up their sneakers in years. Your discipline, your courage, your willingness to keep going despite setbacks. It holds up a mirror they'd rather avoid. And instead of facing it, they push you away, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence. This is where Stoicism offers not just clarity, but freedom. You can't control their feelings, but you can control how you respond. Imagine this. You're at a coffee shop, catching up with someone you thought was a friend. You share your excitement about a new project, but their eyes glaze over, their smile tightens. Later, you hear they've been talking behind your back, downplaying your work. It stings. But here's the Stoic truth. Their reaction isn't about you. It's about the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Your job isn't to fix that gap for them. Your job is to keep walking your path with humility and strength. So how do you apply this today? First, recognize envy when it shows up. It's not always obvious. It might be a passive-aggressive comment, a sudden coldness, or someone pulling away when you're thriving. Don't take it personally. See it for what it is. Second, set boundaries with compassion. You don't need to cut people off, but you also don't need to let their negativity dim your focus. If a coworker undermines you, keep your professionalism, deliver your work with excellence, and let the results speak. If a friend can't celebrate your wins, give them space, but don't stop celebrating yourself. Finally, reflect on your own heart. Envy can creep into all of us. Ask yourself, when was the last time I felt a pang of jealousy? What did it teach me about my own desires? By facing your own shadows, you build the resilience to handle others without losing your peace. In a world obsessed with likes, followers, and external validation, Stoicism reminds us to anchor ourselves in what we control. Our actions, our values, our response to the world's noise. Envy may be inevitable, but letting it shake you is not. You're not here to be everyone's mirror. You're here to live authentically, to climb your mountain, and to inspire others to climb theirs. So keep shining, not out of pride, but out of purpose. Let their resentment be a reminder of your strength, and let your strength be a quiet invitation for them to find theirs. As we move forward, let's explore another hidden force that can create distance in our relationships: misunderstandings. These quiet fractures, born from a single misread word or glance, can grow into walls if we're not careful. Stay with me on ZENLIGHT 8 as we uncover how to navigate these moments with clarity and wisdom. Picture this. You're sitting across from someone you care about, sharing a piece of your heart. Maybe it's a worry about work, a dream you're chasing, or just a moment of vulnerability. You think you're connecting, but their response is off. A raised eyebrow, a clipped "oh really?" or a silence that feels heavier than words. Later you sense a shift, distance where there used to be warmth, judgment where there was once understanding. What happened? On ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving into the second hidden reason people might secretly pull away from you: misunderstandings and ineffective communication. This isn't about loud arguments or deliberate cruelty. It's about the quiet, almost invisible moments where meaning gets lost and resentment takes root. Through the lens of Stoic wisdom, we'll uncover why these fractures happen, how they grow, and how you can navigate them with clarity, courage, and practical tools to build stronger connections in today's fast-paced world. Misunderstandings are like cracks in a sidewalk, small at first, barely noticeable, but over time they widen, tripping up even the strongest relationships. They often start with something simple: a text you didn't answer because you were swamped at work, a joke that landed wrong, or a moment of distraction that someone read as indifference. You meant to show concern, but it came off as criticism. You were just quiet, lost in thought, but they saw arrogance. In that split second, a story begins to form in their mind, not about who you are, but about who they think you've become. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This Stoic insight cuts to the heart of why misunderstandings breed resentment. People cling to their first impressions, building entire narratives around a single moment. And once that narrative takes hold, it's hard to undo. Think about your own life. Maybe you've sent a quick email at work thinking it was clear, only to find out your colleague took it as dismissive. Or you've stayed silent in a group chat, not because you didn't care, but because you were juggling deadlines or family stress, and someone assumed you were ghosting them. These aren't just missteps. They're moments where perception overrides reality. In our hyper-connected world, where texts, emails, and social media posts fly at lightning speed, it's easier than ever for meaning to get lost. A missed call becomes, "They're too busy for me." A neutral comment on Instagram becomes, "They're throwing shade." And the worst part, most people don't ask for clarification. They assume, they judge, and they retreat. Over time, those assumptions harden into resentment, and suddenly you're dealing with a cold shoulder you didn't see coming. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control how others interpret us, we can control how we communicate and respond. Let's break this down with a real-world example. Imagine you're at a family dinner and your cousin shares their excitement about a new job. You're thrilled for them, but you're also exhausted from a 60-hour work week. Your "that's awesome" comes out flat, and you don't ask follow-up questions. To you, it's just a tired moment. To them, it's a signal you don't care. Fast forward a month and they're distant, maybe even snapping at you over something small. You're confused, hurt, wondering what you did wrong. This is where ineffective communication does its damage, not in the moment, but in the stories it leaves behind. So how do you navigate this in a world that's quick to judge and slow to clarify? First, embrace precision in your words. Stoics value clarity, not just in thought, but in expression. Before you speak or hit send, pause and ask, "Could this be misread?" If you're rushed, say so. If you're joking, make it clear. A simple, "I'm swamped but so excited for you, tell me more soon," can prevent a world of hurt. Second, listen with presence. When someone shares something, give them your full attention, even for a moment. A nod, a question, or a genuine "I hear you" can bridge gaps that silence widens. Third, when you sense a disconnect, don't let it fester. Seneca reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. If you feel tension, address it with curiosity, not defensiveness. Try saying, "I've noticed things feel off. Can we talk about it?" This isn't about groveling. It's about taking responsibility for your side of the connection. But here's the harder truth. Not everyone will meet you halfway. Some people cling to their stories, preferring the comfort of resentment over the work of understanding. In those moments, Stoicism offers freedom. You can't force clarity where someone chooses confusion. You can't make someone hear you if they're committed to their version of you. Your job is to show up with integrity, to speak your truth, and to let go of what's beyond your control. In today's world, where miscommunication is amplified by screens and distance, this takes practice. Start small. Next time you're texting a friend, double-check your tone. If you're in a meeting, watch your body language. Uncross your arms, make eye contact. If you've been misjudged, don't rush to defend yourself. Instead, ask a question. What did you hear when I said that? These small acts of intention can turn potential conflicts into moments of connection. Misunderstandings may be quiet, but their impact is loud. By choosing clarity over assumption, curiosity over judgment, you not only protect your peace, you create space for others to find theirs. As we move forward, let's explore another layer of hidden resentment. The clash of values and beliefs on ZENLIGHT on 08. We'll uncover how your authenticity can unsettle others and how to stand firm in your truth without apology. Have you ever felt someone pull away from you, not because of something you said or did, but because of who you are? It's a strange, quiet tension, like you've become a puzzle they don't want to solve. On ZENLIGHT, we're diving into the third hidden reason behind silent resentment: differences in fundamental values and beliefs. This isn't about loud arguments or public clashes. It's about the subtle, often unspoken ways your way of life can challenge someone else's worldview, stirring discomfort they can't quite name. Rooted in Stoic wisdom, we'll explore why your authenticity can feel like a threat to others, how to navigate these invisible battles, and how to stay true to yourself in a world that often demands conformity. Let's imagine you're at a crossroads in life. You've chosen a path that feels right. Maybe you left a high-paying job to start a small business, or you've decided to live simply, prioritizing experiences over possessions. You're not preaching or judging. You're just living your truth. But suddenly, you notice a shift. A friend stops calling. A colleague's tone turns sharp. A family member makes a snide remark about your unconventional choices. What's happening? Your values, the principles that guide your life, are holding up a mirror to theirs, and not everyone likes what they see. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, reminds us that every person is shaped by their experiences, their culture, their fears, and their dreams. When your values, whether it's discipline over indulgence, honesty over diplomacy, or independence over tradition, stand in contrast to someone else's, it can feel like a silent rebuke. You didn't say a word, but your life speaks louder than any argument could. To them, your choice to prioritize a morning meditation over a late night party isn't just different, it's a challenge to their way of life. Your decision to speak up about an injustice at work, when they'd rather stay quiet, isn't just bold, it's a spotlight on their caution. This isn't about right or wrong, it's about the discomfort of difference. In our modern world, where social media and 24/7 news amplify division, these clashes are everywhere. Think about the last time you shared a deeply held belief, maybe about work-life balance, parenting, or even politics, on a platform like X. You thought you were just being honest, but the responses were cold, dismissive, or outright hostile. Why? Because your values, even when expressed with care, can feel like a judgment to someone whose identity is tied to a different path. They don't hate you, they hate the unease you've stirred within them. Stoicism offers a way to navigate this with grace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I'll gladly change. Otherwise, I hold to my path." This isn't about arrogance, it's about clarity. You don't need to convince others to share your values, nor do you need to bend to theirs. Your job is to live authentically with humility and respect, knowing that not everyone will understand. But here's where it gets deeper. When someone resents you for your beliefs, it's often because they're wrestling with their own. Maybe your discipline reminds them of the goals they've abandoned. Maybe your courage to live differently forces them to question the safety of their routine. This isn't just philosophy, it's psychology. People cling to their beliefs not because they're certain, but because they're comforting. When you live outside those comforts, you become a disruption, not by choice, but by existence. So how do you apply this today? First, embrace your values with quiet confidence. You don't need to shout your truth from the rooftops. Live it consistently, and it will speak for itself. If you value health, keep running those 5 miles a day, even if friends call you obsessive. If you value honesty, keep speaking your mind with kindness, even when it ruffles feathers. Second, practice empathy without compromising yourself. When someone reacts with resentment, pause and ask, are they afraid, insecure, protecting a fragile identity? Understanding their perspective doesn't mean abandoning yours. It means meeting them with compassion while holding your ground. Finally, set boundaries when needed. Not every clash of values can be resolved with a conversation. If someone's resentment turns toxic, if they mock your choices or try to pull you back into their comfort zone, step away with peace, not anger. Stoicism teaches us to let go of what we can't control, and you can't control someone's refusal to understand you. In a world that often demands you fit in, whether it's chasing a 9-to-5 job, a picture-perfect family, or the latest trends, choosing your own path is an act of courage. It's not just about living for yourself, it's about showing others what's possible when you dare to question the script. Some will be inspired, others will turn away. That's okay. Your authenticity isn't a performance for their approval, it's a commitment to your own growth. So keep walking your path, not with pride, but with purpose. Let their discomfort be a reminder that growth often begins where comfort ends. As we continue on ZENLIGHT, let's explore another quiet force that can erode trust and connection, the destructive power of rumors and gossip. Stay with us as we uncover how to rise above the noise and stay true to your character. You've probably felt it before, that sinking feeling when you hear your name mentioned in a hushed conversation, or when a friend's tone shifts after hearing something about you. It's not a punch thrown in the open. It's a whisper that cuts deeper than words shouted in your face. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving into the fourth hidden reason people might secretly resent you: the influence of rumors and gossip. This isn't about the loud scandals that make headlines. It's about the quiet stories that spread like wildfire, reshaping how people see you before you even get a chance to speak. With Stoic wisdom as our guide, we'll uncover why gossip thrives, how it distorts reality, and how you can stand tall in a world where whispers travel faster than truth. Let's picture a moment. You're at work, pouring your heart into a project, staying late to perfect every detail. You think you're building something meaningful, but one day, you overhear a colleague say, they only got that role because they know the right people. It's not true, but it stings. Worse, you notice others pulling back, fewer invites to lunch, colder emails, eyes that avoid yours in meetings. What happened? A single rumor, born from someone's insecurity or misunderstanding, has painted you as a character you don't recognize. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Gossip's power lies not in its truth, but in the weight we give it. In today's world, where a single post on X can spread a half-truth to thousands in minutes, rumors are more dangerous than ever. They don't need evidence to thrive. They just need to be interesting. A colleague's offhand comment about your easy promotion, a friend's exaggerated story about a disagreement, or a family member's whispered assumption about your choices can take on a life of its own. Each retelling twists the story further, until you're not you anymore. You're a caricature, a villain in someone else's narrative. Why does gossip spread so fast? Because it feeds on human nature. People love stories that confirm their biases or soothe their insecurities. If someone already feels overlooked at work, believing you stole a promotion makes them feel better, even if it's a lie. If a friend envies your confidence, a rumor that you're arrogant feels true, even without proof. The Stoic response isn't to chase down every lie or defend yourself to every skeptic. That's a trap with no end. Instead, it's to anchor yourself in your own truth. Think about a time you've been misjudged. Maybe a friend believed a rumor that you were too busy for them, when really you were juggling a crisis they didn't know about. Or maybe a coworker assumed you were showing off when you shared a win, when all you wanted was to inspire them. The pain of gossip isn't just the lie, it's the isolation, the feeling of being unseen while a false version of you takes center stage. So how do you navigate this in a world where one tweet can rewrite your story? First, live with such clarity that rumors lose their power. Show up consistently, work hard, speak kindly, act with integrity. When your character shines through your actions, lies struggle to stick. If a rumor spreads at work, don't lash out. Double down on your excellence. Let your results silence the noise. Second, don't fuel the fire. Gossip thrives on reaction. If someone tries to pull you into drama, respond with calm. "I'm not sure where that came from, but I'm happy to clear things up." This isn't weakness, it's strength. Third, practice radical detachment. Seneca said, "A good character, when established, is not easily overthrown. You can't control what others say, but you can control what you believe about yourself." In practical terms, this means focusing on what's in your hands. If you're facing gossip at work, keep a journal of your contributions, dates, times, outcomes, to remind yourself of your truth when lies cloud the air. If it's in your personal life, have an honest conversation with those who matter. "I heard there's a story going around. Can we talk about what's real?" Most importantly, don't internalize the distortion. You're not here to win everyone's approval. You're here to live authentically. Gossip may sting, but it only defines you if you let it. In a world where rumors spread at the speed of a click, Stoicism reminds us to stand firm in our virtue, to let our actions speak louder than whispers, and to find peace in knowing who we are, even when others refuse to see it. As we move forward, on ZENLIGHT 8, let's explore another hidden force behind resentment: personal insecurities and projection. Join us as we uncover how others' inner battles can shape their view of you, and how to protect your peace without losing your compassion. There's a moment we've all experienced. someone you thought was in your corner suddenly turns cold. Their words sharp, their gaze heavy with something you can't quite place. It's not about what you said or did, it's about what you are. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving into the fifth hidden reason people might secretly resent you: personal insecurities and projection. This is a quiet force, often disguised as politeness or indifference, but it's one of the most corrosive. When someone hasn't faced their own doubts, fears, or unhealed wounds, your presence, your confidence, your progress, your peace can become a mirror they'd rather shatter than face. Through Stoic wisdom, we'll explore why this happens, how it shapes relationships, and how you can stand tall without carrying their pain. Let's picture a scene. You're at a team meeting, sharing an idea you've worked hard on. It's bold, maybe even risky, but you believe in it. Most of the room nods, but one colleague rolls their eyes, later dismissing your work as overhyped. You're confused. You've always been supportive of them. What's going on? The answer lies in projection. When someone feels inadequate, whether it's about their career, their relationships, or their own unfulfilled dreams, they don't always look inward. Instead, they redirect that discomfort onto you. Your confidence feels like arrogance to them. Your success feels like a spotlight on their stagnation. It's not about you. It's about the version of themselves they're avoiding. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." This is the heart of projection. Someone's inner fears become their lens for seeing you. In today's world, where comparison is constant, scrolling through X, seeing perfect lives curated in 280 characters, this dynamic is amplified. Your new job, your morning run, your ability to stay calm in a crisis, it can trigger a silent storm in someone who feels they're falling short. Maybe it's a friend who sees your disciplined routine and feels guilty for skipping their own workouts. Maybe it's a family member who mocks your ambition because they never pursued theirs. Their resentment isn't about your actions, it's about what your actions remind them of. The gap between who they are and who they want to be. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote here: detachment from others' judgments. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. But if they simply criticize without clarity, I hold to my path." This isn't about ignoring feedback, it's about discerning what's valid and what's projection. When someone's insecurity fuels their resentment, you don't need to fix it. You don't need to shrink your light to ease their discomfort. But understanding this dynamic opens the door to compassion. That colleague's eye roll, it might be less about your idea and more about their fear of being overlooked. That friend's snarky comment, it could be their struggle with self-worth, not your success. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps you depersonalize it. So how do you apply this in your life today? First, recognize projection when it shows up. It's often subtle: a backhanded compliment, a dismissive tone, or someone attributing motives to you that don't exist. Pause and ask, is this about me or is it about them? Second, protect your peace with boundaries. If someone's resentment becomes toxic, if they belittle you to feel better about themselves, distance yourself with calm, not anger. You can say, "I value our connection, but I don't think this conversation is productive." It's firm, kind, and stoic. Third, reflect on your own triggers. We all project sometimes. When was the last time you felt a pang of envy or judged someone too quickly? Facing your own insecurities builds the resilience to handle others without losing your center. In practice, this might look like keeping a journal to process moments of tension. Write down what happened, how it felt, and what might be driving the other person's reaction. If you're dealing with projection at work, focus on your output. Let your results speak louder than their doubts. In personal relationships, try a gentle check-in. "I've noticed you seem upset. Did I do something to hurt you?" Sometimes this opens the door to understanding. Other times it shows you who's worth your energy. In a world where everyone's carrying unseen wounds, your strength, your ability to keep going, to stay true to your values, can stir discomfort. That's not your failure, it's your power. Stoicism doesn't ask you to harden your heart. It asks you to refine it, to meet others' pain with empathy while protecting your own peace. You're not here to carry their insecurities. You're here to live your truth and, in doing so, inspire others to face theirs. As we continue on ZENLIGHT, let's explore another quiet force behind resentment, the lack of empathy and understanding. Join us as we uncover how to navigate a world where not everyone sees you clearly and how to stay centered in your own truth. Have you ever shared a piece of your heart with someone only to feel like they didn't really see you? Maybe you poured out your excitement about a new goal or opened up about a struggle, and their response was a blank stare, a quick change of subject, or a judgment that felt like a slap. On ZENLIGHT E8, we're diving into the sixth hidden reason people might secretly resent you: a lack of empathy and understanding. This isn't about overt cruelty, it's about the quiet disconnect that happens when someone can't or won't step into your shoes, turning your intentions into threats, your successes into slights. With Stoic wisdom as our guide, we'll explore why empathy fails, how it breeds resentment, and how you can protect your peace while staying open to connection in a world that often feels divided. Imagine you're at a coffee shop, catching up with a friend. You're excited about a new project. Maybe it's a side hustle you've poured your nights into. You're not bragging, you just want to share your joy. But their response is flat. Sounds like a lot of work. Later you notice they're distant, maybe even critical, making comments that feel oddly personal. What happened? When someone lacks empathy, they don't see your excitement. They see a spotlight on their own unfulfilled dreams. They don't hear your struggles. They hear a challenge to their own narrative. Without empathy, a moment of connection becomes a moment of division. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." This Stoic principle is a lifeline when dealing with those who can't understand you. Empathy isn't just feeling what someone else feels. It's the willingness to see their world, to ask what drives them, to look beyond the surface. When that willingness is absent, people misread you. Your silence becomes arrogance. Your boundary becomes rejection. Your success becomes a personal attack. In our fast-paced world, where everyone's distracted, scrolling through X, rushing through emails, juggling a million tasks, empathy often takes a back seat. People judge quickly, assuming your intentions based on their own filters. A coworker might think your focus is showing off because they're stressed about their own workload. A family member might see your independence as pulling away because they're wrestling with their own need for connection. This isn't always intentional, it's human. But left unchecked, it builds walls. A single misread moment becomes a story, and that story becomes resentment. So how do you navigate this in a world that's quick to judge and slow to understand? First, lead with clarity. Stoics value precision, not just in thought, but in how we show up. If you're excited, say it explicitly. I'm sharing this because it means a lot to me. If you're setting a boundary, explain it with kindness. I need some space to focus, but I value you. This doesn't guarantee understanding, but it reduces the room for misinterpretation. Second, practice empathy yourself, even when it's not returned. When someone snaps at you, pause and ask, what's going on in their world? Are they stressed, insecure, carrying a wound you can't see? This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior. It means seeing it for what it is, so you don't internalize it. Third, know when to let go. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we control. You can't force someone to understand you, especially if they're locked in their own perspective. If their lack of empathy turns toxic, if they consistently misjudge or belittle you, step back with peace, not bitterness. In practice, this might look like small, intentional acts. Next time you're in a group chat, take a moment to acknowledge someone's effort. Hey, I see how hard you're working. Great job. At work, if a colleague misreads your tone, don't escalate. Clarify. I didn't mean it that way. Let me explain. In your personal life, if someone's coldness feels personal, try a gentle check-in. I feel like we're not connecting. Can we talk? These acts build bridges, but they also protect your peace by keeping you grounded in your own truth. In a world where empathy is rare, your ability to stay centered is your strength. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need to understand yourself. Stoicism doesn't ask you to close your heart. It asks you to open it wisely, to offer compassion without losing your clarity, to build connections without sacrificing your peace. When someone resents you because they can't see you clearly, that's not your failure. It's a reminder to keep living authentically, to keep showing up as the best version of yourself. As we move forward on ZENLIGHT 8, let's explore another hidden force behind resentment, competition, and rivalry. Join us as we uncover how to turn comparison into growth and rise above the quiet battles that threaten your peace. Have you ever shared a piece of your heart with someone only to feel like they didn't really see you? Maybe you poured out your excitement about a new goal or opened up about a struggle, and their response was a blank stare, a quick change of subject, or a judgment that felt like a slap. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving into the sixth hidden reason people might secretly resent you: a lack of empathy and understanding. This isn't about overt cruelty. It's about the quiet disconnect that happens when someone can't or won't step into your shoes, turning your intentions into threats, your successes into slights. With Stoic wisdom as our guide, we'll explore why empathy fails, how it breeds resentment, and how you can protect your peace while staying open to connection in a world that often feels divided. Imagine you're at a coffee shop, catching up with a friend. You're excited about a new project. Maybe it's a side hustle you've poured your nights into. You're not bragging, you just want to share your joy. But their response is flat. Sounds like a lot of work. Later you notice they're distant, maybe even critical, making comments that feel oddly personal. What happened? When someone lacks empathy, they don't see your excitement. They see a spotlight on their own unfulfilled dreams. They don't hear your struggles. They hear a challenge to their own narrative. Without empathy, a moment of connection becomes a moment of division. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." This Stoic principle is a lifeline when dealing with those who can't understand you. Empathy isn't just feeling what someone else feels. It's the willingness to see their world, to ask what drives them, to look beyond the surface. When that willingness is absent, people misread you. Your silence becomes arrogance. Your boundary becomes rejection. Your success becomes a personal attack. In our fast-paced world, where everyone's distracted, scrolling through X, rushing through emails, juggling a million tasks, empathy often takes a back seat. People judge quickly, assuming your intentions based on their own filters. A coworker might think your focus is showing off because they're stressed about their own workload. A family member might see your independence as pulling away because they're wrestling with their own need for connection. This isn't always intentional, it's human. But left unchecked, it builds walls. A single misread moment becomes a story, and that story becomes resentment. So how do you navigate this in a world that's quick to judge and slow to understand? First, lead with clarity. Stoics value precision, not just in thought, but in how we show up. If you're excited, say it explicitly. I'm sharing this because it means a lot to me. If you're setting a boundary, explain it with kindness. I need some space to focus, but I value you. This doesn't guarantee understanding, but it reduces the room for misinterpretation. Second, practice empathy yourself, even when it's not returned. When someone snaps at you, pause and ask, what's going on in their world? Are they stressed, insecure, carrying a wound you can't see? This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior. It means seeing it for what it is, so you don't internalize it. Third, know when to let go. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we control. You can't force someone to understand you, especially if they're locked in their own perspective. If their lack of empathy turns toxic, if they consistently misjudge or belittle you, step back with peace, not bitterness. In practice, this might look like small, intentional acts. Next time you're in a group chat, take a moment to acknowledge someone's effort. Hey, I see how hard you're working. Great job. At work, if a colleague misreads your tone, don't escalate. Clarify. I didn't mean it that way. Let me explain. In your personal life, if someone's coldness feels personal, try a gentle check-in. I feel like we're not connecting. Can we talk? These acts build bridges, but they also protect your peace by keeping you grounded in your own truth. In a world where empathy is rare, your ability to stay centered is your strength. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need to understand yourself. Stoicism doesn't ask you to close your heart. It asks you to open it wisely, to offer compassion without losing your clarity, to build connections without sacrificing your peace. When someone resents you because they can't see you clearly, that's not your failure. It's a reminder to keep living authentically, to keep showing up as the best version of yourself. As we move forward on ZENLIGHT 8, let's explore another quiet force behind resentment: competition and rivalry. Join us as we uncover how to turn comparison into growth and rise above the quiet battles that threaten your peace. You've felt it before. That subtle shift when someone you're working alongside stops cheering for you and starts competing against you. It's not a loud rivalry, not a declared war, but a quiet undercurrent of tension, a glance that lingers too long, a compliment that feels hollow. On ZENLIGHT, we're diving into the 7th hidden reason people might secretly resent you: competition and rivalry. This isn't the healthy kind of competition that pushes you to run faster or work smarter. It's the darker kind, fueled by ego, insecurity, and a need to outshine rather than grow. With Stoic wisdom as our guide, we'll explore why rivalry turns sour, how it erodes connection, and how you can rise above it with practical tools to stay focused on your own path in a world obsessed with comparison. Picture this. You're in a team at work, all pulling toward the same goal. You're putting in extra hours, refining your skills, delivering results. At first, everyone's on the same page, celebrating each win. But then you notice a change. A colleague starts nitpicking your work, or they forget to include you in a key email. Maybe they take credit for a shared idea, or their praise feels like it's laced with something sharp. What's happening? Competition, when tangled with ego, becomes rivalry. A silent battle where someone's focus shifts from their own growth to your downfall. Epictetus taught us, the only competition worth engaging in is with the self, to be better today than you were yesterday. But in today's world, where success is measured in likes, promotions, and public praise, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. On platforms like X, where every achievement is broadcast, your new business, your 10-mile run, your latest creative project, it's not just about celebrating your wins. It's about navigating the quiet resentment of those who feel your success diminishes theirs. This isn't just a workplace issue. It's in friendships, when a friend pulls back because your new relationship or fitness journey makes them feel stuck. It's in families, when a sibling's subtle jab about your fancy job hides their fear of being left behind. Rivalry thrives when someone believes there's only so much success to go around, that your light somehow dims theirs. Stoicism offers a way out of this trap. It reminds us that true strength lies in mastering yourself, not outdoing others. When someone's rivalry turns to resentment, it's not about your achievements. It's about what those achievements reveal about their own doubts. Maybe your discipline at the gym reminds them of the workouts they've skipped. Maybe your promotion highlights the risks they didn't take. Their reaction isn't your burden, but it can still hurt, especially when it's someone you trusted. So how do you navigate this in a world that pits us against each other? First, reframe competition as inspiration. If someone's striving pushes you to grow, let it fuel your own progress, not your ego. Cheer their wins, even if they don't. Cheer yours. It's a Stoic act of character. Second, stay focused on your own path. Keep a journal of your goals. Write down why you're running that extra mile or pitching that bold idea. When rivalry creeps in, those notes remind you what's at stake. Not their approval, but your growth. Third, set boundaries with grace. If someone's resentment turns toxic, if they undermine you or try to sabotage your work, address it calmly. I value our collaboration, but I've noticed some tension. Can we talk? If they can't meet you there, protect your energy by limiting their access to it. In practice, this might mean celebrating your wins quietly. Post about your 10K on X, but don't expect everyone to clap. At work, document your contributions to stay grounded in your truth, even when others try to rewrite it. In personal relationships, recognize when competition becomes unhealthy. If a friend can't celebrate your joy, give them space, but don't dim your own. Stoicism doesn't ask you to win every race. It asks you to run your own with integrity. In a world that thrives on comparison, your greatest act of defiance is to compete only with the person you were yesterday. Let others wrestle with their rivalries. Your job is to keep growing, not to prove them wrong. Your success isn't a threat. It's an invitation for others to rise too. As we continue on ZENLIGHT, let's explore another quiet force behind resentment: the weight of social expectations. Join us as we uncover how living authentically can unsettle others, and how to stay true to yourself without apology. Have you ever felt judged not for what you've done, but for who you've chosen to be? Maybe you've walked away from a safe job to chase a dream, or chosen a life that doesn't fit the mold. Fewer possessions, more freedom, or a path that defies tradition. Suddenly, people who once supported you start to pull back, their words tinged with criticism, their silence heavy with disapproval. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving into the 8th hidden reason people might secretly resent you: the influence of social expectations. This isn't about loud confrontations. It's about the quiet tension that arises when your authenticity challenges the norms others cling to. With Stoic wisdom as our guide, we'll explore why your choices can unsettle others, how to navigate their discomfort, and how to live boldly in a world that often demands conformity. Imagine you're at a family reunion, sharing your decision to move across the country for a new adventure. Maybe it's a startup, a creative project, or just a simpler life off the grid. You're excited, but the room goes quiet. An aunt makes a comment about stability. A cousin rolls their eyes at your hippie phase. You didn't criticize their lives, but your choice feels like a judgment to them. Why? Because social expectations are like invisible scripts we're all handed. Go to college, get a 9-to-5, buy a house, follow the path everyone else walks. When you rewrite that script, you're not just living differently, you're holding up a mirror to the choices others never questioned. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." In the same way, it's not the one who strays from the path who's lost. It's the one who never dares to question it. But society often flips this truth, rewarding conformity and punishing deviation. Your decision to prioritize mental health over a high-stress career, to live minimally instead of chasing the latest gadgets, or to speak your truth in a world that prefers silence, it can feel like a rebellion to others. They don't resent you because you're wrong. They resent you because your courage forces them to confront their own fears of stepping outside the norm. In today's world, where social media amplifies these pressures, where ex-posts celebrate the perfect life of big houses, flashy cars, and predictable milestones, choosing your own path can feel like swimming against the tide. Post about your decision to quit a corporate job for a passion project, and you might get likes, but also whispers. They're throwing their life away. Share your choice to stay single and focus on yourself, and someone comments, "You'll regret it when you're older." These aren't just opinions. They're the weight of expectations pressing down, trying to pull you back into line. Stoicism offers a way to stand firm. It reminds us that true freedom comes from aligning with your values, not society's checklist. You don't owe anyone conformity, not your family, not your friends, not the algorithm. But this freedom comes with a cost. Some will pull away, not because they hate you, but because your authenticity makes them question their own. So how do you live this in today's world? First, own your choices without apology. If you've chosen a life of purpose, over profit, live it fully. Share your journey on X, not to boast, but to inspire. If you value simplicity, let your home reflect it, even if others call it empty. Your life is your canvas. Paint it boldly. Second, meet resistance with understanding. When someone criticizes your path, pause and ask, are they scared for you or for themselves? Their judgment often reflects their own doubts about breaking free. You don't need to argue. Respond with calm. This is what feels right for me. Third, build a circle that supports your truth. Seek out people who celebrate your courage, whether it's a friend who cheers your unconventional career or a community on X that shares your values. In practice, this might mean setting boundaries with those who pressure you to conform. Politely decline invitations to debates about your life choices. It might mean journaling about your why you chose this path, what it means to you to stay grounded when others' expectations feel heavy. Most importantly, keep showing up as yourself. Your authenticity isn't just for you, it's a quiet revolution, showing others what's possible when you live by your own compass. Some will resent you for it, but others will be inspired to rewrite their own scripts. As we continue on ZENLIGHT, let's explore the final hidden force behind resentment, the lack of recognition. Join us as we uncover how feeling unseen can fuel bitterness, and how to stay true to your path even when the applause doesn't come. There's a quiet pain that lingers in the shadows of our relationships, not the sting of an argument, but the ache of being overlooked. You've felt it, pouring your heart into a project, showing up for a friend, or making sacrifices no one seems to notice, only to watch someone else get the applause. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're diving into the ninth and final hidden reason people might secretly resent you: the lack of recognition. This isn't about seeking validation. It's about the human need to be seen, and what happens when that need goes unmet, turning gratitude into bitterness. With Stoic wisdom as our guide, we'll explore why feeling invisible can breed resentment, how to navigate it, and how to keep shining even when no one claps. Let's imagine you're at work, clocking 50-hour weeks to meet a deadline. You stay late, skip lunches, pour every ounce of energy into making the project a success. But when the praise comes, it goes to someone louder, flashier, or better connected. You don't say anything. You're not one for drama, but inside, it stings. Now flip the script. What if you're the one getting the praise and someone else feels unseen? That quiet colleague, that friend who's always there, that family member who supports without asking for credit, they might start to pull away, not because you've wronged them, but because your spotlight feels like their shadow. Epictetus said, "The acknowledgement of one's efforts is often more satisfying than the reward itself." When that acknowledgement doesn't come, it's not just disappointment, it's a wound. In today's world where social media amplifies visibility, where a single post on X about a promotion or a marathon finish can rack up hundreds of likes, it's easy to feel invisible if your efforts go unnoticed. The coworker who never gets a shout-out, the friend who's always the listener but never the one heard, the parent who sacrifices quietly, they start to wonder, do I matter? And when they see you thriving, getting the recognition they crave, that question can turn into resentment. It's not about you, it's about the applause they never got. Stoicism teaches us that recognition is fleeting, but virtue is eternal. You can't control whether others see your efforts, just as you can't control whether they resent you for being seen. But you can control how you respond. First, offer recognition where it's due. A simple, "I see how hard you're working," or "Thank you for being there," can change everything. In a world that's quick to scroll past the quiet contributors, be the one who pauses to notice. Second, don't chase applause for yourself. Keep a private record of your wins. Maybe a journal where you log your 5-mile runs, your late-night work sessions, your moments of kindness. This isn't about ego, it's about grounding yourself in your own truth, so you don't need external validation to feel whole. Third, when you feel someone's resentment, approach it with empathy. If a colleague seems distant after your promotion, try saying, "I've noticed you've been quiet. Everything okay?" Sometimes, acknowledging their effort can diffuse their bitterness. But if they're not ready to hear you, let go with peace. You're not here to fix their pain. You're here to live authentically. In practice, this means small, intentional acts. At work, give a shout-out to a teammate in a meeting. In your personal life, thank a friend for their support, even if it's just a text. "I really appreciate you checking in." For yourself, celebrate your own progress quietly. Maybe treat yourself to a coffee after hitting a goal, not for the likes, but for you. Stoicism reminds us that the only approval that matters is your own, rooted in a life of integrity and purpose. When someone resents you for being seen, it's not your failure. It's a reminder of their unseen wounds. Keep showing up, not for the spotlight, but for the person you're becoming. As we close this journey on ZENLIGHT 8, let's reflect on what we've uncovered. 9 hidden reasons: envy, misunderstandings, clashing values, gossip, insecurities, lack of empathy, rivalry, social expectations, and the need for recognition that can quietly pull people away from you. These aren't just reasons for resentment, they're invitations to grow. Stoicism teaches us that the world will always have noise, judgments, whispers, expectations, but your peace is your power. You don't need to be everyone's hero, just your own. In today's world, where comparison and division are just a click away, these lessons are more vital than ever. Start small. This week, try one act of clarity. Maybe a kind word to someone who feels unseen, or a moment of reflection on your own values. Write down one thing you're proud of, not for applause, but to remind yourself who you are. Share your journey with us at ZENLIGHT 8. Drop inner peace in the comments, or tell us how you're applying Stoic wisdom in your life. Subscribe to stay grounded with us, and let's keep building a community that chooses growth over resentment, authenticity over approval. As we move forward, we'll dive deeper into living with purpose in a noisy world. Stay with us for the next episode. Now, go out there and live your truth, one steady step at a time. Let's bring this home with some real-world advice you can apply today, rooted in the Stoic wisdom we've explored on ZENLIGHT 8. Life in 2025 is fast, loud, and full of distractions. Posts, work emails, endless notifications pulling you in every direction. It's easy to get caught up in what others think, to feel the sting of resentment or the pressure to conform. But here's the truth. Your peace is your greatest asset. Start by anchoring yourself in what you control: your thoughts, your actions, your response to the world's noise. Each morning, take 5 minutes to write down one thing you value. Maybe it's honesty, discipline, or kindness, and one way you'll live it today. If someone's resentment creeps into your day, a snarky comment, a cold shoulder, pause, breathe, and ask, is this about me or them? Then let it go, not with anger, but with clarity. Celebrate your wins, even the small ones, without needing a crowd to cheer. Ran 3 miles? Finished a tough project? Helped a friend? That's enough. And don't forget to lift others up. A simple "I see you" can change someone's day. In a world that thrives on comparison, choose growth. In a world that rewards noise, choose stillness. That's how you build a life of purpose, one choice at a time. Now, let's keep this journey going together. Head over to ZENLIGHT 8 on YouTube and hit subscribe. We're building a community that values authenticity and resilience. Drop inner peace in the comments, or share a moment when you faced resentment and rose above it. Your story might inspire someone else to keep going. Let's make ZENLIGHT a space where we grow, reflect, and live boldly, together. See you in the next episode.